It's Cat, and it's Woof, and they talk. It's Cat and Woof talk, Cat and Woof talk, Cat and Woof.
Hello, this is
Cat
and Woof, and we are here talking about Late Night with the Devil. Ooh, spooky.
Look at that spooky eye in the background.
Scary.
Oh my goodness.
So, the thing about this movie is it's bad. It's not a very good movie.
Not at all.
Yeah, we watched this. There was some hype actually around the movie, and one of the places that I saw them talking about this was Variety Magazine. And I thought, surely, there's something to this. Because when we first saw some of the previewy stuff for this, we were like, oh, okay.
Looks corny, kind of bad.
And, we decided to give it a shot.
It was corny, kind of bad.
A lot of bad choices. Now, there was like a good movie that could have been in this movie, I feel like. So they had a great concept, a great story, It's one Halloween night with
To get
a
views
late
up.
night talk show host who's desperate for views and desperate for attention. And we slowly learn that he's already sold his soul and that the devil is here to collect.
Yep.
And I would say that the ending of the movie is
Odd.
pretty good. I would say that the ending is good.
That's why it's good, because it's odd.
The ending is good. It's everything leading up to that doesn't work as well. I wouldn't say everything leading up to that. So the very beginning of the film, the first 10 minutes is just like a voiceover and clips that tell a lot of the story to the point where it's like, stop telling me things, just tell a story. You want them to actually
Show,
tell
not
a
tell.
story. Exactly. You want them to go through a story.
Yeah.
And they don't really. And the weird thing is that a lot of it becomes redundant because they do tell you about it later in the movie. So why this 10-minute long introduction? Why this focus on... Because if they had written the story a little bit tighter and maybe added a few more scenes of dialogue to explain some of that stuff, they could have just cut out that entire intro segment,
Yeah.
And it starts out well enough, they're talking about, setting the mood for a period piece and talking about what's going on in the late 70s and how people are kind of, this could have been a great moral lesson in disillusionment of people, sort of becoming less moral and becoming more concerned with material things and tuning in and zoning out and not really having just the feeling that morality was slipping in the United States in the 70s, which was a feeling that a lot of people had. And, they I guess could have done a lot more with that. Instead, we got a very sort of long, drawn-out intro that tells half of the story right out of the gate through a narration, which is always a bad choice.
Really don't.
That was the main thing. They also decided to do a thing where they're going to pretend like this is all found footage.
Oh, yeah. I hated that.
Doesn't work. It's like...
You could have just told it from a story perspective. You didn't have to be
at a certain
found
point,
footage. Here's a Halloween night. Here's the footage.
And at a certain point, you have to make a choice. Okay, if it's a found footage film, then you're going to have to hint at things a lot more. You aren't going to have these full-blown scenes.
In black and white.
In black and white where for some reason somebody with a camera is following people around to the back of the set to record them having an intimate
Without them knowing.
conversation without them acknowledging the camera or knowing that it's there. It just sort of wanted to have its cake and eat it too, when they could have very
easily
just like not drawn attention to the fact that, you know, if they'd used a square aspect ratio to show all of the scenes where they're on air,
mm-hmm.
and then they just cut to like a widescreen aspect ratio to show stuff that's
like behind the scenes,
and not even behind the scenes or saying it's behind the scenes, but just
to show that it's not
just the characters talking to one another and have that, you know, have a little bit more depth outside of what's being presented for the audience, you know, and going back and forth between the two and not acknowledging that it's all supposed to be found footage, you know. I think that didn't work very well.
The way they put it, they shouldn't have done found footage. It should have just been a fluent story. And if they were going to do a found footage, then they should have done the wide angle, like you said. And the black and white was supposed to be like, oh, it's hinting at this is like stuff that wasn't recorded, but you said it was found footage. How can it be found footage if it wasn't recorded?
Well, no, it was recorded, but it's supposed to be behind the scenes materials or like...
That's dumb. No one records behind the scenes stuff.
Well, when they do, it's like they're using the same cameras, you know. You would have, if you were, you know, showing never before seen stuff like that, it would all be through the same cameras and it would basically look the same as, but that was just a bad choice.
I heard there's some controversy in this film.
Right. I noticed this when I saw the title cards in the movie. I noticed that they were, you know, they show some title cards when they go to commercial in this, and there are moments when it's like, okay, that looks like AI. That looks like an AI-generated image. Especially there's a skeleton with some teeth where it looks like the teeth are messed up in the way.
Oh, the we'll be right back and
right
when it comes back and when it leaves. Yes,
the Halloween themed title cards. Yeah, so those are obviously AI.
Yes,
and you know, AI doesn't bother me. It's when you notice that it's AI that it's a little bit distracting. I didn't feel like there was enough of it to warrant any kind of controversy.
Well, from what I saw, just briefly, from what I've heard and what I've seen, now I could be wrong. Like, a lot of the time, you know. I could be wrong, but I heard that the script was kind of AI generated.
The script was AI generated?
That's what I heard.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it makes sense. It's not very well written. There are a lot of bizarre choices.
Yeah. So,
I felt like it could have, you know, there were things that it brought up that didn't really need to be brought up. Like, just the whole introduction was unnecessary and kind of ridiculous. And a lot of the stuff with...
I thought the psychology was weird. Like paranormal... Now you're a paranormal psychologist?
Oh, I don't know. That didn't bother me as much. But...
It was weird on my end. I was like, huh.
What bothered me was the extended hypnosis scene where it was like, well, I've hypnotized the entire audience. And now you're seeing... You know,
play back the footage that was really there.
Which is weird because this is all supposed to be found footage, so wouldn't we be seeing the footage that was there to begin with?
Exactly.
Well, which it's like, okay, well, you can break out of the mold of found footage. Is it supposed to be that, like, I'm a member of the audience and I got hypnotized? because I didn't, and hypnosis doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, you were saying that through the movie. You're like, that's not how that works.
Yeah. That doesn't really work like that. So, it's fine. They made a choice. It was just, for me, it didn't really work. But that was all excusable. What's inexcusable to me is that the narration at the beginning is so overwrought and goes on for so long.
It goes on for like 30 minutes. Like half of the movie is just that.
And the first big scare with the medium throwing up all the goop, that could have been done a lot better.
It looked real fake. I'm not even gonna lie.
Fake.
They blacked out the camera. There was quotes around blacked out.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a lot with that just didn't work. The whole, and there's an obvious CGI shot there with the goop shooting out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Which it's like, okay, less is more.
Yeah.
Don't
get some practical effects, man. That would have been nicer.
Don't do that. It just looked so bad.
Yeah.
Now, I will say the CGI at the end looks decent.
There was one thing, not the end, but you reminded me because of the ending. The girl, I forgot her name, but the girl that was possessed.
Mm-hmm.
When she was possessed and had an odd face to her for like a split second, that looked like one of those Snapchat filters where it couldn't find your face and went boop boop. And the levitation, when she levitated off the ground, it looked real bad.
Oh, you didn't think that looked good?
No, not at all.
Yeah, well, to me it didn't look terrible. To me, I will say that actress, by the way.
Oh, great actress.
I think she did a good job in that role. I think she did a good job portraying that girl.
From a cult, yeah.
Making it a little bit spooky without being too corny and over the top. And I do like that this is a sort of genuinely over the top movie. I just feel like it could have been so much more effective, especially like the writing just wasn't great. If it was done by AI, then maybe a few years too early on that. Maybe. Let the AI get a little bit better.
Get a little smarter.
Send it to a college where it can do some
research. Yeah.
And let it do a couple other scripts first.
Yeah.
Maybe don't just
put it into a horror movie setting.
Don't just crank out the first turd that it,
Yeah.
That would explain like having 10 minutes of opening narration the way that it did. Like that felt very like bizarre and out of place. To the point where it's just like, okay, is this just like, are they just setting this up so that the AI will know where the story goes from here? Like, is this just like I don't know.
Exactly.
It didn't work. It didn't work very well.
Back to the actress, because I really want to talk about her really quick. She was great. I absolutely loved the fact that she was like, she genuinely seemed to be into the role. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
It felt like she wanted that role. Like it was a role that she was genuinely excited about and she wanted to play it. And I love the fact that I know it was probably part of the script, but the way she looked into the camera, the quote unquote camera.
Right, yeah.
I was like, ew, stop, don't look at me.
Yeah, so there were some really cool moments, especially, I'd say from the middle of the film to the end, it did pretty well. It did almost everything right, except
kind of when she was introduced.
That hypnosis scene really took me out of it.
Yeah.
I loved how over the top and crazy the ending
was. That was.
Yeah, the hypnosis scene was just like, it wasn't great. The hypnosis stuff wasn't great. The ending was very good.
Yes, because it genuinely. it genuinely pulled the wool over my eyes. I was like, huh?
Yeah, it couldn't make up for the slow start,
Yeah.
the bad special effects at the beginning,
The kind of shitty script.
the really poorly like cobbled together dialogue.
Yeah.
It felt very like, I don't know, just mediocre, just very like telling us
And if
things,
this
just
was-
telling us things. Like, we don't need that much information. Just, you should know all that stuff in your head as the writer, and then you should convey it. But don't just tell us everything. We don't need to hear all that.
Well, that's like a whole thing in like every movie and play, and that's like a golden rule: show, don't tell.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's very, just very basic mistakes with this movie that
If this
it goes
was
to show if this is done by AI.
yeah, this was an AI generated script.
These writers
few
don't
years.
have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna have a job for a while.
Yeah.
Except if this was, written by somebody.
Then buddy.
Yeah. Put down
Try
the
again.
typewriter for a while. And go back to the drawing board.
Try again a little later.
Anyways, that's about it for Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah.
I would say just for the ending sequence.
Watch it just
and-
for the end and the occult
in the
girl
middle,
scene.
and
Yeah.
there are some cool moments, but just
Otherwise,
don't
it's
expect
eh.
too much from this movie. Put it on and have a couple beers and have a good time.
Yeah. Put it on. Get a little tipsy and have fun.
Yeah. Beyond that,
Like,
not a lot to say. So subscribe, comment, do all the things.
ring that bell.
Leave us a little comment, ring-a-dingy-ding the bell, and let us know what you think of Late Night with the Devil. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's cat and wolf in the talk. It's cat and wolf talk, cat and wolf. It's a cat and wolf and they talk. And they talk.